Well, here we are, a little bit over a year after For Honor's initial release. It had its ups and it had its downs. But that's not what we're here for. What we're here for today is to answer a question that I never thought would be asked: is it worth playing again? Now, if you're new to the series, or need a little recap on what happened the past year with For Honor, let me just fill you guys in real quick. This hack and slash fighting game released on February 14th and had very widespread appeal for a fighting game due to its low skill floor and high skill ceiling. The gameplay was new, fresh, and exciting for many players. However, the strengths of the game were brought down by things like peer-to-peer networking, a lack of communication between the dev team and the community, and some changes that ignored the fundamental problems of the game. All this essentially led up to pent-up frustration by the community, many of which who dropped the game never to return. But it's not too late for For Honor to redeem itself, and that's exactly what they're trying to do with patch 1.19. Now, this isn't going to be a video pouring over the patch notes, mainly because I feel a lot of people are better equipped to do that, especially since they play so many different characters, and also because I want to focus on the general direction of the game and where it's heading now as opposed to 6 months ago when the game really started losing traction. So, let's examine the problems that For Honor had during its development cycle and the steps that they're taking now to try and remedy those problems. What was probably the biggest problem that For Honor had was the connectivity issues. And if you've played For Honor in the past 6 months, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. It wasn't uncommon to see things like host migrations, players dropping due to lag compensation, and other network related problems to pop up constantly during a game. And there's nothing more frustrating than not being able to finish a match and losing all your rewards as well as your time. So, what are they doing to fix this? The answer? Dedicated servers. For Honor's dedicated servers recently underwent an open beta of sorts during the holiday season, and at the time of this video are slated to come out today, so that's amazing. Keep in mind though that these are only for PC users. Unfortunately, there's no scheduled release date for dedicated servers for Xbox or PS4. Next up, we have a problem that has plagued this game since the very beginning, and that is the defensive meta. Due to the game's design, the safe way to play was also a very efficient way to play, meaning that characters would constantly sit back, not swing, wait for a parry opportunity, then guard break into their punishes, many of which were incredibly disproportionate to the amount of work the attacking character had to do to get even a little bit of damage in. This led to a very decisive tier list in the game during its development cycle, where the defining factor was how safely could you spam a move and get damage without putting yourself at risk. For this reason, characters like Peacekeeper with their high mobility and very fast zone attack, Warlord with his headbutt, Shugoki with his pre-nerf charge, and Conqueror before his shield charge was nerfed were all very high top contenders, while the other characters were kind of left to the wayside. What was really at the top of the tier list though was making your attacks unparryable, and that's exactly what this unlock exploit did. Its effect on the game was so game-breaking and lasted for so long that the winner of For Honor Season 3's PC tournament actually used this exploit all the way to the top and won $2,000. This essentially reduced For Honor's playstyle to a lot of flash and very little substance. Unfortunately, it's taken them a little bit over a year for them to make very drastic changes to the way the game is played, but fortunately it wasn't too late. The most recent patch has brought along a very heavy parry rework, more specifically, what a character can do after getting a parry. Generally speaking, most characters can get a light attack after a heavy parry and a heavy attack after a light parry. Now, there are some exceptions to this rule, but that's the general gist of things. Players can no longer parry and then confirm with a guard break. And the appeal of getting that optimal damage while playing defensively now falls back to parrying your light attacks. This means that defensive players have to put themselves out there a little bit more in order to get their maximum damage off of a parry, while offensive players are given more options to be able to mix up the defensive player and get a guard break or some similar kind of feint punish. Alongside these changes, we've also seen changes to the characters themselves. Berserker, Conqueror, Kensei, and Highlander have all received a little bit of love this patch, all in the form of new chains, faster attacks, a little bit more damage, and more mix-up potential to really open up those turtles. While the tier list is still essentially defined by who has the safest attacks and who can get their damage in easiest, this change is exactly what For Honor needed. Not only in its implementation, but also to show the For Honor player base that it's not afraid to change the core fundamentals of the game in order to try and combat the problems that it's had for the past year. These two problems were definitely the biggest offenders in For Honor. and the fact that they're actively being worked on is a breath of fresh air for a game that has been nothing but bad news since its release. If you picked up For Honor but dropped it sometime last year due to all of the things happening, and need an excuse to get back into the game, now is a better time than any. This may just be the second breath that For Honor has, or its last hurrah. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to check the links below in the comments for my Twitch, Twitter, and all other forms of social media, so you can catch me when I'm live and when I post new videos.